Good morning. Today we're going to be building an amazing farming district for the city of Thaldrim. Welcome back to MorningCraft. So in the last episode we built this garden bridge and I lined it with trees so it blends in nicely to our farming area. But as you can see, it's pretty empty. There's hardly anything to blend into. So let's get to work. So on the left you can see what we already make. We've got a bunch of animals and a little bit of wheat on top of the hill. And on the right you can see all the things we're yet to farm. So potatoes, rabbit, pumpkins, berries, carrots, cocoa beans for cookies, watermelon and beetroot. We're going to have to do all of these things if we want to compete with the very best of farms. So let's start with cocoa beans. Why not? So the first thing I did was I built an area where we could grow them. And I really wanted to use the areas underneath the archways of the bridge. I placed a jungle tree underneath one of the archways and it made this cool little cut through. And now the people of Thaldrim will have access to relatively well-priced chocolate. But the probability they get hit by a branch or they take the trains elsewhere, it just got about 10 times higher. And so that's the first of our 9 farms completed. No wait, not 9, 8 of them, yeah. I added a little bit more detail to curve around the pathway and make it a little bit more of a natural walk. But with the cocoa beans completed, I came back to our list and I crossed it off. I wonder what we're going to do next. Well, actually no, I'm editing the video. You don't though. Guess you have to wait a minute. Suspenseful. Ooh, what could it be? But if in that moment of suspense you guessed rabbits, then you'd be correct. I've rehomed Seymour, our friendly rabbit, into this enclosure and found a bunch of friends for him. I do need to make this a little bit more homely, but for now it's done and we can cross rabbits off of the list. So here we go, crossing off rabbits. What should we do next? I think we'll probably do watermelon next. And so I headed back under the bridge to build our watermelon farm. I figured these would grow somewhere warm, so I needed a lot of light to help them along the way. I also included a little bit of a glowberry farm above them, but that's more for decoration. Glowberries are one of my favourite things in the game, and I feel like this little area adds so much to this archway. And so I was able to cross watermelons off the list and get to work on our very next farm. I normally put on a timer when I'm doing a build just so I can keep track of how long I spend on it, but with this one I didn't really do that. I just went ahead and built as many farms as I could think of. Here we've got our pumpkins, and I think that looks pretty good. And so the archways are filling up, and we've solved 4 of our farming problems. We've got a few more to do though, so let's get back to work. So if you had to guess what is next? Well, I went for sweet berries next. They're a little bit pointless, but they look good. It's good to have a bunch of them because you can just plant them sort of as decoration. And I found some foxes to go with them. We've got 2 adult foxes and then a baby fox called Marvin, and I used a name tag on it, so he's going to be that way forever. So, say hello to Marvin, and we'll move on to the next farm. Ooh, what could it be? Well, call me Dwight Schrute, because I'm all about that beat. Here we go. I started off with a beetroot farm, and then I added a second level, and I added some red coloured wood using it's not mahogany, it's mangrove. There we go. And with this done, our list was getting smaller and smaller. Only a few more to do now, and our farming area is looking pretty full. Now the only items left on the list are carrots and potatoes, and we're going to need quite a few of those. So I built a carrot farm on the left, and in just a moment I'm going to build a potato farm. But first, let's go to a quick story.
Anthony, I must apologize. I previously called you hollow for your plan, but with your strategy you have disposed of the dog without violence. I am a man of war, and to a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I am truly sorry, and I thank you.
And so, the Syndicate of Gold had removed the dog from Thaldrim. Very soon they would be in control.
So we're back, and you can see our farming area is slowly but surely filling up. I do need to increase the entity render distance, as you actually can't see any of the animals in the pens. But with carrots done, it was just potatoes left. And so I put in a field for potatoes, but it was around this time I decided that I didn't just want to stop there. I wanted to get every type of animal that we could breed and farm and bring it to this area. I'll probably make a proper zoo for Thaldrim at some point, maybe with some polar bears and pretty much anything else I can find. But we can see our farming area is starting to come to life, so I added a few more farms to help finish it off. I trekked along to the desert, and I brought some camels back with me. I haven't named these, so if you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments down below. I also then got some goats, and these do cause a little bit of a problem in the next episode, but they're pretty cool guys. You could even say they are the greatest of all time. I did try to build an area for some axolotls, but couldn't really be bothered, so I built one for llamas instead. There we go. Those are a little bit easier to get, and they're a little bit more chill than aquatic animals. Dolphins would be cool. How would I get dolphins? I don't know. So I built a wheat field instead of getting dolphins, because why wouldn't you? We could do with a whole bunch more fields, but for now I think we got a pretty good grain yield. And our farming area is looking pretty full. I could use a few more buildings as well as fields, maybe some farmers' houses or some little wholesale trading posts. The tunnel leading into this valley could also do with an upgrade, one similar to the one we have underneath the cathedral. That look pretty good. But after playing for a few hours, I was pretty pleased with how all of this turned out. I added a few last minute details, including some cherry trees, but I'm really glad I did this. It really fills out the city, and it looks pretty cute. Now my favourite thing about Thaldrim is the way it shines in the light of dusk, and so I lit everything up and I took one last look at the farm. You can see this follows on nicely to our small new area, the castle, all the bridges, the train station, the cathedral, the pub, the market, and everything else in between. I'm fairly sure this is now bigger than Mornington, but I need to do a little bit more of a comparison to be sure. I think the terrain in Thaldrim gives it a lot more intrigue than the flat Mornington does. But I hope you have the most wonderful day leading on from this most wonderful of mornings. My name is Stephen, you've been watching MorningCraft, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Here's a daily quote. Hope it's good. Hope it... Viva la revolution, or whatever they say. Yeah. Let's get it done.